his companions, and all those who cultivate and tranquil relationships that avoid pain many people and hopefully prevent some trauma and toxicity in our daily lives. So thank you all. We will start with an opening recitation from some beautiful messages and reminders from Allah. Thank you so much, Sheikh. I want to start with an acknowledgement of country, acknowledgement that this continent was first inhabited by many First Nations. And this land in which we are filming and having this session today was traditionally occupied by, as you can see on the board, the Wandal and Watagoro people of the Darug Nation. So we pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and we acknowledge their continuing connections to land, sea, waterways, and all of our environment here. We also would like to acknowledge and pay our respects to all our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander brothers and sisters watching on the live stream or replays, and we hope that you find some safe spaces in our mosques all over this continent with your fellow brothers and sisters here. Thank you for joining us for this session today. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. If you do wish to have tea and coffee, quite early in the morning for you, we do have tea and coffee at the back. You can make yourself feel comfortable. If you need to stretch your legs, you can also walk around a little bit as well and come back to your seats whenever you're ready. We also have biscuits at the back. And if you need to use the toilets, there are toilets upstairs. You can access them via the staircase or via the lift here. Just press level 1 and make your way to the back there, both for brothers and sisters. But please remove your shoes as you're walking through the youth center. If there is an emergency, which we pray will not happen, we please ask everyone to remain calm and just walk outside to the front, to the muster point outside this hall. Again, thank you all for joining us. I want to say a little bit about our beloved facilitators for this program today. First, we have Sheikh Bilal Dannoun, and he is a foremost marriage expert, a Muslim marriage expert. And so we are very honored to have him here with us. He is founder of many, many initiatives, including a Muslim marriage course online, which you can also subscribe to. You get a discount at the end of this program for it as well. And he's a course facilitator, and he's the founder of a very, very special program coming up on July 30th. It's one of its kind here in Australia. It's called Find Your Soulmate. And there are still a little bit of places available, brother? Unfortunately not. Oh, we've got into a bit too late, but it is hopefully that will occur annually, inshallah. And it's a very special program. It has a very high success rate where it has been implemented in the US as well. And he is also the founder of Sunnah Soulmates. And there are so many things to say about Sheikh Bilal, but I won't take up too much more time. You will see him today, and I'm sure you'll benefit certainly. And of course, if you need to contact him in future about any concerns, you can contact him, which we will put at the end of this program. Of having our Mr. Dilek. She's a registered counselor. She's a psychotherapist. She has her own wellness program as well. She does have an office here in the mosque. She's available for appointments. As well. She's a lecturer in pharmacology, and she is a partner of the stem cell therapy in Turkey. So you might want to ask her. That's very also facilitating our day. So our day will be on love languages. How many have you heard the term love languages before? Yes, it's much more popular now, that particular terminology. But before that, I want to just recap of our last session. Last time we spoke about communication. We had some really wonderful feedback and engagement from these members. We had some wonderful reflections and insights from you as well. Share some reflections we had about communication.
Just the important communication. We realize how important communication is in a relationship.
Yes, so it's such a very significant aspect of building the relationship, being able to communicate with each other. And some of the aspects of communication include understanding each other's steps. Really meaningful conversation, to have a really good time. And Sheikh shared with us a really interesting strategy he uses with his wife. Who remembers what that was? An NOS, which stands for a no offense session. So this is where we're not going to take things personally, we're going to really listen to what each other is saying to achieve mutual understanding. So it's a really important session to practice a little emotional intelligence coming up very soon. So this is a little bit
talking your language. And what is because we are communicating in the environment for disappointment, for anger. Makes you feel cherished, you've got to communicate against that. Because everybody has a very different definition of what it is and what on the topic of like a flower, you pick it. If you love a flower, you water it, you fertilize it, you love it. And that's the difference between loving someone. In Surah Al-Rum, I recited in the opening recitation, the many shades. It has depth. And he uses it is mawaddah. Mawaddah is deeper than love. There's an Arabic word which is habba. Very rich. When you say so love is something that comes from the heart. And because where it ends on my lips, it's an action. It's one that's produced with the lips. And one of the best ways to express love is if you try right? That's mawaddah. Next mawaddah is expressive love. So now you're walking the walk. You're expressing that love through the love languages, right? And all of these things that we're learning. So if you're going to talk about love or mawaddah, we say expressive love or demonstrative love. You demonstrate love. You walk the walk just lip service, right? But you actually show that you love that person through your actions. So let's talk about these love languages. And this really the works of Gary Chapman. That's his name, Gary Chapman. He's got a few books that he's written, very interesting in these publications by Gary Chapman. Now, on this slide here, that some wise person has put together, you'll have 5 pillars of Islam. So if you which is shahada, right? It's about words. You say ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Of course, it's also a belief system. If you never have a belief system, you're not going to say shahada, right? So the first one of the affirmation. When you say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you're affirming that there's only one deity, there's only one God, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Words of affirmation, right? And then there is negation, which is ashhadu an la ilaha, la ilaha is the negation. You're negating any other deity. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah is the affirmation that Allah is the only God that is worthy of worship. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. If we look at the second one, salah, it's an act. It's a time that we spend 5 times a day with Allah Azza wa Jal, right? And it's quality time that we spend with Allah Azza wa Jal. And subhanAllah, that quality time that you spend with Allah dictates the quality of your marriage. Remember that. Remember that. That the quality times that you have with Allah dictate the quality of your relationships on earth. Because the one who controls the hearts is Allah. And Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. Those who believe and they do the most merciful will instill the love, meaning in the hearts of others. So others, the best way to do that is love Allah unconditionally and sincerely. And organically, people will love you. Not everyone going to love you, but most people that probably count the most will love you, right? And that's why we find in the hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that when Allah loves someone, He calls out the inhabitants of the heavens, which are the angels, love so and so. Or He calls out to Jibril, the great angel Gabriel, and Gabriel calls out to the angels, love so and so. And love is spread on the earth towards that person. You cannot afford to compromise quality time with Allah. 5 times with Allah. They must be your must, not should. There are shoulds and musts. Salah is a must. That includes Fajr prayer. If you really want barakah in your life, my best recommendation for barakah is to wake up just before Fajr and to do some tahajjud, which is night prayers, even if it's just 2 units. Make some istighfar, dua, pray your Fajr prayer on time, pray your sunnah, pray your Fajr, your adhkar, your morning and evening supplications, right? Read a couple of pages of Quran or a few lines, and insha'Allah your day will be filled with barakah. And do it with your spouse. Do it together, insha'Allah ta'ala. You know, in the West or somewhere, I remember reading that the family that remember that one? Have you heard that? Us Muslims, we borrowed that, and we said the family that prays together stays together. You know, we pray together, we make dua together. Of course, if you're nearby the masjid, in the masjid. But even as a man, if you want to come back after the masjid and lead your family members in salah, you have the option to do that, right? Because even though you fulfilled the so repair your relationship with Allah. Repair your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The people of the past, that I shared this with you, I think if I mentioned it last week, but the pious people, if they committed a wrong, what would happen? Did I say that one last week? No? Okay. So basically, the pious people of the past, they said, I would disobey Allah, like I've done something wrong, and I would see the ramifications of my disobedience in the behavior of my riding animal, my transport, or my wife, or my spouse, to give me a hard time. And they wouldn't blame the spouse, and they wouldn't blame the means of transportation. They would actually blame themselves. Because وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَيَعْفُو عَنْ كَثِيرٍ, that whatever of misfortune befalls you is due to what your own hands have earned, and yet Allah pardons much. So we need to really check ourselves before we wreck ourselves and wreck our relationships, right? Salah is really at the heart of all of this that we're talking about. And we can go on and on and on. And it's that connection with Allah. If you lose that connection with Allah, that's it. Then you know, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. Do not be like those who forget Allah, but He makes them forget about their own. He makes you forget or not even see what you need to be seeing, or know what you need to be knowing, or be in touch with the people that you need to be in contact with to get you out of your dilemmas and your hardships and your problems. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that's going to make it happen. And وَتَحْسَبُونَهُ هَيِّنًا وَهُوَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ. And you think that it's trivial. It's not a big deal. I'm going to just delay my prayer and I'll just pray later. And Allah ghafurun rahim. Shaitan hoodwinks you and fools you into believing that everything's going to be okay. But it doesn't work that way. Do not compromise your prayer. Compromise your relationship with Allah. That's non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Have your prayer mat in the car. Have your water bottle in the car. Have your prayer mat in your backpack, whatever. There's fold-up ones. You have no excuse not to be praying on time. Whether you pray in a car, whether you pray in a park, whether you pray in a small room, you've got to find a place to pray. If you turn your shoulds into musts, if you think about Ramadan, right? Subhanallah, even Muslims that don't pray, right? Even Muslims that don't pray, they'll fast Ramadan, right? You guys acknowledge that, right? And subhanallah, why? You know why that's the case? Because they actually, I must wait for sahur tomorrow. I must fast tomorrow. And when they say to themselves, I must, they do it. But then how many of us actually fast throughout the year regularly? We don't, right? We don't fast regularly. Why? Because we've made it a should. But when it becomes a must, it happens. How do you get up for work, whether it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning? How do you get up every day for work? Because you made it a and that's how our attitude should be towards what's most important, and that includes salah. Interestingly, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about many regulations to do with divorce salah. Interestingly, nestled, sitting there amongst these verses about divorce is حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى. Allah just talks about salah. Preserve the salah, the 5 prayers, and the prayer. With the prayer. Because at Asr time, we're really relaxed. It's that time we're sort of winding down, right? And so many of us, what do? We can get complacent when it comes to Asr. Prophet, he said that whoever safeguards cold prayers, he said, Man salla al-barayni dakhala al-jannah. Prayers that are cold. So what's he referring to? Fajr and Asr, because Fajr is the coldest time of the night or the day. And Asr is the coldest time. It's sort of like winding down, it's getting a bit cold. That's when you're really intentional about Allah Azza wa Jalla. It means preserving all the other prayers, they're easier prayers to preserve. Right? So let's get intentional about those two prayers, and you'll find yourself gravitating to the other prayers organically and naturally, inshallah ta'ala. So it's interesting that Allah speaks about the salah, sitting around the verses of divorce. Some scholars, they said, they were making tafsir and commentary. It's giving us a clue, he's giving us a hint. If you don't preserve the prayers, this is what the outcome could be. You ruin the relationship with Allah, so He may decree your relationships on earth to be ruined and spoiled. Because وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَيَعْفُو عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. Whatever of misfortune befalls you is due to what your own hands have earned. You reap what you sow. Anyway, we'll move on, inshallah. So much that can be said. Quality time with Allah, quality time. We'll talk about that in a moment. We're talking about the 5 love languages. Zakah is the third pillar of Islam, giving from your wealth. 2.5% once a year on the nisab. What I do normally, I look at my bank account in Ramadan. Every Ramadan, I'll look at my bank account. How much have I got? I'll just give 2.5% of everything that I have. It's nothing, by the way. It's nothing. Just the maths, and you see how it's nothing and how it blesses your money. Very simple. You give. Zakah is about giving. And interestingly, thoughtful. The love language of gifting is surprising. We'll talk about that in a moment, inshallah. Fasting. I struggled with my sister in making a connection between okay, extra rewards for those good deeds, right? Extra rewards, doing acts of service to partner, right? That's their highest love. You're getting extra credits in the love bank. At that moment, inshallah. I was struggling with that one. So fasting, by the way, fasting Thursdays, fasting every month, they're known as the white days, the 13th, 14th of every lunar month, the most beautiful days throughout the year. If you also want to get into some intermittent fasting, really good for you as well. But fasting is just extra rewards for between you and Allah and for your health. And subhanallah, when you fast, okay, your body, especially for a prolonged period of time, your body becomes enters into autophagy. It enters into a state where it becomes a vacuum cleaner for your cells, and then your cells are cleansed of a lot of toxicity and toxins, and that makes you, inshallah, live a more fulfilled life. Look after your health. Your health is very, very important. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about the that many people are not intentional about, as-sihha wal-faragh, which is what's your time? Go to the last one. And number 5, the fear of Islam, of Hajj. And it's just amazing. Anyone been to Hajj here? Hands up. 1, 2. May Allah bless you to go to Hajj. It's honestly, it's one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. And actually said, alternate between Hajj and Umrah. So try and, a couple of years, Hajj, Umrah, Hajj, poverty, subhanAllah, blesses you. You are thinking, I'm going to invest in this, invest or that. One of the best investments is Hajj. Just blesses your wealth. SubhanAllah. It removes poverty, and it removes sins In the same way as the blacksmith remove impurities from the likes of gold and other metals. Hajj does you. Put an account aside, put some money aside, and make sure that you get it. Wallahi, imagine now you're around the Kaaba performing the tawaf, and you're making dua. You know how many miracles happen around the Kaaba? How many du'as are answered? And how many ailments and conditions and people's who just couldn't work it out at all. Even in relationships, I actually heard stories of people who went to Umrah. They did and subhanAllah, remarkably, their relationship with their spouse went from toxic to very healthy, happy marriage. Subhanallah. I've heard this, wallahi. So yes, prioritize Hajj. And the fifth love language is physical touch, because when performing Hajj, we need to touch the black stone, inshallah, because it's sunnah. And we touch the black stone, subhanAllah, said, the black stone, Allah is going to make the tongue, it's going to speak out and say who actually touched it. Right? It's a form of praising that person for following the sunnah. You know, Umar, right? He actually spoke black stone. And then over time, through the sins of human beings, it became black, right? And that's how destructive sins are, right? And Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu wa ardah, he said, I know you're only a stone or a rock and you can't benefit. Had I not seen the Prophet ﷺ kiss you, I wouldn't have kissed you. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ tells us to do, we just do it. Whether we can understand the wisdom or not, sometimes the wisdom, we understand that many thousands of years later, maybe hundreds of years later, we say, oh, wow. Right? It's like, for example, I remember there's a hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, "Ni'mal idamul khal." What a remarkable, blessed condiment is khal, which is vinegar, right? So you're flicking through social media, and some expert in health or somebody influencer, take some vinegar before your food, and so we do, right? It's good, for the acid in our stomach, and then we realize the science behind it, and they say vinegar is really good for you. We've been doing it for a long time, but we didn't have the wisdom behind it. And now some expert comes about and tells us how great it is for us. So we don't have to wait for science. You don't have to wait for those revelations. Go for it. Do it. Let's go right into it. So I know that we are on page 7 from the book, inshallah, if we want to follow through with the book. So there is a beautiful paragraph here about expressing love in languages or in a language comprehend. It's akin to fueling up a vehicle's tank. The more fuel in your tank, what does that mean, guys? Right? So when you now start looking in your partner's love language, right, you are going to take this relationship, inshallah, to greater heights, and you're going to go longer in terms of the quality of that journey, inshallah. So that's a beautiful, that's very beautiful to note. It makes the challenges easier. Okay, if you're running on empty, all right, then it becomes there's a lot of anxiety. Make sure that that love tank is full, right? And, when it comes to this concept of the love banks, as some of them might also call it, the love bank, all right, or the love bank is about debits and credits, very similar. So the more credits there are in the love bank, okay, the better your partner feels about you, right? So in the Gottman Institute, they talk about this concept of the love bank. And in the emotional love bank, it's about having more credits. Forgive me if I repeat myself, because I'm talking this this group. But look, repetition is the mother of memory, right? It's good to repeat things. That's why I repeat Al-Fatiha 17 times a day. Do you get bored of that? Subhanallah, how you don't get bored of reading the Quran. Allahu Akbar, how beautiful it is, right? So repetition is the mother of memory. So the love bank theory, in the Gottman Institute, they talk about this ratio. It's this ratio of 5 to 1. For as long as there are 5 credits for every one debit, for as long as there are 5 good interactions, and one bad interaction, right, or behavior, your partner is going to be in what they call, you can type that if you're trying to write that in, positive. They're going to have positive sentiments towards you. So let's say, for example, you gave your wife a back rub, you took out the trash or the rubbish, you helped out with the kids, you helped out with the dishes, you unpacked the dishwasher. Men don't pack the dishwasher because we do such a bad job. I'm getting in trouble with my wife for packing the dishwasher. Why did you put that there? And anyway, but alhamdulillah, I've always made sure she's going to be in a negative sentiment. So you got to have there's credits in stuff up, right? Doing well. Then they're not going to like, if they get mad at you, they're take the water pistol out. I can handle that, right? But you know what happens? They say if the ratio is like 1 to 1. If you have 1 debit, 1 credit, ya latif, as we say, right? Right? It means you're in deep waters. Right? 1 to 1 ratio is not healthy. Imagine you've got heaps of debits and oh my God. So 5 to 1 is 1 to 1. All right. Guess what she's going to take out? She's going to take out the cannon. Allahumma salli sallim, say ameen. Allahumma salli ya Rabbi.
It has to be something that you're doing for her only. That's the credit.
Yeah, so
she's happy with the say the credit is you were just being good to the kid. Like that. Is that a credit, or the credit has to be for her?
Well, it depends. Like if she normally takes the kids to soccer training and you say, wifey, okay, ummul awlad, whatever you call your wife, right? Today I want to make things easy for you. That you've been wanting to get, and I'll take the kids. What do you think?
So it has to be for her.
It has to be for her. But if you were already taking them to soccer training, what have you done for? Yeah, I like that. You're getting me, right? So what's the ratio, brother? How much? 5 to 1, brother. You have to be intentional. 5 to 1. When are you in deep waters? Who can tell me? 1 to 1. What's going to happen? The cannon comes out. Allahumma sallim ya Rabb. All right. So it's really important to be intentional about the love bank, about the tank. Keep that tank full, right? Insha'Allah. Where are we? So this concept of the love bank, love tank, talking about positive sentiment override, negative sentiment override, right? And by the way, to negative sentiment override, that means the emotional connection is balance. It means the emotional connection is not there. So now, what's that going to impact? It's going to impact everything. It's going to impact the intimacy. It's going to impact the physical moments. It's going to impact your mood. It's going to impact so many things. And especially for a woman. Especially for a woman. Yani more of a reason to be close, to touch you, and they find it very hard to be intimate if there's no emotional connection. Men need to understand that, right? Let's have a discussion. So far, what's resonated with some of you here? So far, do we need to go over anything specific here? No? Okay, we move on, inshallah. So let's get right into the love languages. Number one is words of affirmation. Okay, words of acknowledgement, compliments, right? Verbal appreciation. Words. Say something. Don't assume. Don't assume you already know it. You know, even if you know your wife or your husband is good at something, and even though it's still not enough, they should say, you should say, hey, Jazakallahu khairan, Jazakillahu khairan, you're looking after the kids, Jazakallahu khairan, you pay the bills, Jazakallahu khairan, you always fill up my car with petrol, hint, hint. Right? You know, you say stuff. Don't assume that they already know it. And even if they already know it, believe me, try it. Compliment. One of the best things you can do when you meet someone is compliment them. Have the rest of the connection with that person. Do it with anybody. Compliment their scarf, their little pin, their jacket, their phone. Whatever. Compliment. Wallahi, it does amazing things. Compliment. Right? There was a famous person, I don't remember who he is. He said, I can live off a compliment for a month. Wow. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? He said, Man sana'a ilaykum ma'rufan, act of kindness towards you, compensate them. Compensate them. And the best, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever says, Jazakallahu khayran. Yeah, that phrase that we all say, don't undermine it. He said, whoever says that, they have excelled. They have excelled in praise. Right? Subhanallah, all of these, they're saying words of wisdom. Socrates had a student by the name of Xenophon, and he said, praise is one of the sweetest sounds. Praise is one of the sweetest sounds. Say, shukran, gratitude, be thankful. Yes.
Yeah, like further on what you're saying too, look, when we work in the field, like on our job site, any worker, if they say, oh, you do well today, any positive feedback, it increases their production level, like the next day or for the next week, they work hard. Just a bit of praise, it goes a long way. So
I'm loving this input. I'm loving it. Jazakallahu khairan. Absolutely. One of the best ways, if you have a business and you want to get the maximum out of your employees, psychology, it's proven that praising them, acknowledging them is one of the best ways to get more output from them. Do we agree?
Actually, like when you give the worker a pay rise, or if you appreciate what they've done, they actually perform better if you tell them, oh, you've done well, than even if you give them extra money.
That's right. I have a worker myself. I have a worker who's very big on just acknowledgement. And that's his human need. He needs for whatever reason. He just thrives on compliments. So I'm always to say, MashaAllah, Allahu khairan, well done. This is great. I can't believe how, look at the colors you've chosen. He's like a graphic designer and stuff. He loves that. He thrives. And I see him coming back and, find out. Look, your partner's love language, man. That's what we're talking about. And so acknowledge the love that you have towards your spouse. For often, these words are left unspoken that leave many hearts broken. It's not what we only say that breaks hearts. It's what we're not saying. We need to acknowledge that love. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, when you love someone, go and tell them you love them. Inni uhibbuka fillah. And then he taught us the phrase, أحببت الذي أحببتني من أجله. May the one you love me for his sake you. Right? One day, Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha, she came to the Prophet alayhi wasallam and she said, كيف حبك لي? How much do you love me? How your love towards me? He said to her, my love towards you is like the knot of a rope. That means it's very strong and it's very firm. And so Aisha would come back again and again, O Messenger of Allah, Ya Rasulullah, how's it not going? She didn't ask about the love now. She wants to know, is that knot still firm? You still got it in for me? You still have that love to me, Ya Rasulullah? She loved. Right? So, subhanAllah, let's follow in the sunnah and the tradition of actually saying, I love you, I cherish you. Beautiful words like that. And on page 8, we've got some beautiful phrases, memorize them, implement them. I admire you. You know, you're so good at this and that. And I really appreciate it when, you know, if you want to get your partner to do something, they just, you know, instead of telling them about the thing, oh, you haven't done it yet, you know, you actually use the reverse psychology and say, I love it when you do this. I appreciate you so much. The more appreciation you show your partner, they're going to be mindful of that, and you're going to actually motivate them to do that. So remember, you don't always be so direct, be indirect, and you watch. There's lots of stories about that. So even like when you use cute names for your partner, right? The Prophet ﷺ used to Aish, Ya Aish, right? So, and he would have affectionate names towards her. Okay? Now, of course, when it comes to words of affirmation, the opposite is also very important to keep in mind, which is not being abusive, not being disrespectful. Be kind. Be kind. Right? You either have something good to say or you don't say. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, speak good or remain silent. Right? So that's something that we have to also remember, insha'Allah ta'ala, that your words, your tongue, that subhanAllah, it's so tiny. It can produce honey or it could spit poison. SubhanAllah. And the Prophet ﷺ spoke about, he once held the tongue and he said most people are going to go to the hellfire because of this and because of their private part. Between their jawlines and their thighs, because of those two, that's what most people will end up in the hellfire. We need to be careful with this. Be careful. Let's move on to the next one, inshallah. Anything that anyone wants to say about affirmation? You've understood words of affirmation. Number 2, second love language is quality time together. So on page 8, we're talking about being present. You know, your spouse, love language is quality time. That's a high amount there for them. And it's more about, for them, it's more about your presence with a C than your presence with a T. The present, you know, the gift, so with a T at the end. Present with a T. See how English language is very poor, not like Arabic. Okay. By the way, I actually studied linguistics and English language as my major at university. So I think I'm away with that one. All right. So subhanallah, yes. And by the way, when it comes to these love languages, before I forget, if you go online, you can actually do a quick quiz to determine your primary love language and the love language of your partner. And it gives you beautiful, graphs and percentages. You can start to talk about that. And you find some of them, by the way, are going to be very, because let me say something else. With regard to these love languages, once you find out your partner's love language and you start to get intentional and focused and showing up where they want you to show up in that love language, that leads to EC, which is emotional connection. If there's no emotional connection, there's probably something wrong. I remember a long time ago, my wife said to me, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. And then she reminded me that I wasn't communicating in her love language for that day or 2 days. And so subhanAllah, she felt that little bit of a distance. So I had to become more intentional about ensuring that I'm always, filling her tank, ensuring that I'm communicating in that love language to ensure that emotional connection. To ensure that there is this tethering that we said, tethering, both of you need to be showing up. And there's this concept called, in engineering, something I think it's called the concept of something symbiotic. Is anyone know what I'm talking about? Symbiotic? No? Yes, interdependency, that's the one. So what can you explain a little bit? So
something symbiotic, such as like a parasite, it relies on the host to feed on so that it can survive.
Okay, and then we have, so on one hand, there's a reliance on each other for this relationship to be, uplifted, to be in a really healthy state, right? So as long as this partner is really doing their part, and this partner's doing their part, the relationship is going to be spinning, right? But imagine this one's going slow, this one's going fast, it's not really functioning where it needs to be. So why you can be intentional about your role, this person's intentional about their role. Now everyone's doing the role, the relationship is thriving. Does that make sense? You're both playing a role. It can't be just one person doing the work. Both of you do the work. Yes, sister. The rowing boat. Yes.
One is used and the other one isn't. The boat is going to.
So both of you are rowing the boat. The boat is the marriage,
Yes.
right? The boat is the marriage going, okay? Now, if both of you are rowing and you're rowing in a way that's you're aligned with each other, you're rowing very hard, okay, this boat is just going to basically float beautifully on this water. But if one person is doing a dodgy and the other one's going really hard, this boat's all over the place. You know, and subhanAllah, beautiful. I'm loving these examples. Where were we? Oh gosh, I can talk. Quality time, your presence, right? So you see here things like words like, I like words like date night, under number 2, date night, reading, read, get like read Quran, or maybe Quran might be a bit difficult, read a book of hadith, like buy, for example, Riyadus Salihin. Riyadus Salihin is a collection of beautiful hadith, the most probably recited hadiths and important hadiths. You'll find them in Riyadus Salihin. I love the one by Salam. After every hadith of 2, it has some commentary about the hadith. So you can sit together, have a read, maybe also read like something you're both interested in, like to do with health, to do with time management, buy some bestsellers. There's a lot of beautiful books out there that you can benefit. Buy about the Sahaba, there's some beautiful books, that you can just read short stories about the prophets, start to build that library around the future children can also use, inshallah. So reading is a good time together. Date night is about being intentional about planning it. Both of you, and it doesn't matter who does the planning, but it's probably good if both of you can do a little bit. That will also contribute towards that. The whole point of a lot of the other that I like is the walk. I spoke to you guys about walk, that when you walk together and you talk, you brainstorm amazing. write that this week? Yes? You guys talk, did you find that very, like, it creates that connection. You talk about deep things. So something about it, I don't know what it is. Okay, do you want to explain now, please?
At a different level now. So we're talking about energy, the atomic level. We have to go down to that concept. When you're out in nature, obviously you have that high vibrational frequency outdoors, and then the connection between you and your partner changes. So you ground yourself in nature. So if we talk about the energetic level, everything that we discussed, we can explain it at an atomic level, the mathematics of what Allah has prescribed to us in the Quran. So pretty much what you mirror to your spouse, he will take advantage of that, thinking, okay, this is where I'm deficient. Remember we discussed this last week? That's the idea. So at an atomic level, you will be resonating or resonating. So for your frequency, that vibrational frequency, wherever state you are manifesting that into your life. So whether it's your partner, your job, any type of relationship, that's what you will be resonating, manifesting into your life. So how then, I'll just add to this, a lot of our single sisters and brothers say, then how can I find such and such partner or a spouse? Well, then are you that person yourself? Because that's what you be manifesting. How you are at an atomic level, what energy you're giving out, exactly you will be manifesting into your life, whether it's the type of job that you want or the partner. So this is at an atomic level. If you don't like something with your partner, think about it. Turn within. Where am I deficient? Because I've manifested that in him. Look inside, and then you'll find it. So we turn within ourselves. We don't hold on to reasons or situations. We turn within ourselves because that's exactly what they are mirroring back to you. So if they're in an anger outburst, go within. What triggered that? What have I done to trigger that? Don't blame yourself, but remember, he or she is mirroring you at an atomic level. It's all about vibrational frequency. And what is that? I don't know if I'm talking more like physics here. Does everyone know what vibrational frequency is? So everything is made up of atoms. Let's just very quickly define this because it's very, very super important. Everything is made up of atoms, whether it's living or non-living. And the atoms are in constant motion, constant motion. It doesn't stop. Now, the faster they move between each other, they've got a high vibrational frequency. The slower they move, they've got a lower vibrational frequency. Now, when we experience joy, happiness, contentment, actually our atoms are at a higher vibrational frequency. And this is love. We're talking about love, which is the highest form of vibrational frequency you can ever attain. And that comes from our Sheikh was describing through Allah's love. If you want to experience super love, you first have to understand the love between you and Allah, and you'll understand, you'll be resonating at that level. So when we talk about going in nature then, where you're grounded, your vibrational frequency is actually super high. So obviously when you're talking with whomever, this is where I do a lot of my counseling sessions as well, walk and talk sessions. It works because you take the best out of that person. They're grounded. They want to express themselves at the highest level. So inshallah, like, this is a very good start when you're meeting someone, especially walk and talk, because you're seeing the best version of them as well. So always turn within when something's not going right. You want to manifest something in life? Manifestation within it'll, because of magnetism, we call, this is like very physical, magnetic and electric resonance. So I'm talking a lot of mathematics here that Allah has actually, this is system, this is a system, all about mathematics. And if you understand that resonance, it's not just about you and your partner, it's about all the relationships you have, whether it's, you know, with animals, with children, and, you know, understand that your body becomes very, very ill, close to death, when you're at the lowest vibrational frequency. So look at your options of how to raise that vibrational frequency. Turn within, work on yourself, and you'll manifest everything you want. Trust me. Like the mathematics, Allah, the way Allah has created you at an atomic level. So I hope that explains a lot of things, especially with words of affirmations, because we said words are actually a form. It becomes a body when it's taken out of your mouth. It has a certain frequency. Each and every word has a certain vibrational frequency. And subhanAllah, when a non-Muslim hears, for example, the adhan, why did they get affected? They don't know the meaning. It's the resonance, that vibrational frequency it emits that touches the soul. Okay, so this is again, things that, you know, you can't understand, but it's there. So this is attraction. Because you are resonating with that person, same level of manifestation. You're in that same vibrational frequency. That's why you have that connection happening. How do you conform with everyone? How you on good terms with everyone? It's again, you're resonating the same vibrational frequency. If you're not in alignment with yourself, that's what you're going to manifest into your life. So that's the mathematics, right? So the words of affirmation, use only the words that you want to manifest in your life, just positive words. We said last week, we're using don't, that's the negative, run. The first thing I say to someone, don't run, they're not going to think of walking, right? They're going to think of running. So we have to instill the word we want to manifest. Could you please walk slowly? We said it in a positive way, and we instill the word walk. So whatever you want to see in your spouse, you want to manifest that, use that word. Positive. The words of affirmation, extremely important here. Time-wise as well. So you're investing energy, time, everything you invest in your spouse is going to be a form of energy that's going to be transformed. Remember, energy is not created from somewhere. It's either transferred or transformed into a different form. It's not created. The same energy circulates around the whole universe. It's just transformed into a different type, or it's transferred. So if you want to circulate good energy, you invest in good things, so it transforms back to you, just like investment. I hope that answers a little bit, like through mathematics of our religion, inshallah. I'll give it back to Sheikh.
Sister Dilek, that was very deep and mashallah, so relevant. Jazakallah khair. I benefited so much from that. I guess do good, feel good. You know, you do good to others, you're going to feel good. And also when it comes to these vibrations, yeah, I mean, if you're vibrating from a place of guilt, of shame, of sins, it's going to show up. You actually see it in the person, in their energy. So it's important that you're not in a sinful state as well. So you're intentional about pleasing Allah Azza wa Jalla, being in places or behaviors that are displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, that's going to show up in your vibration. Yeah, there's so much that can be said there, and that applies to also, eating halal, eating what is good for you, what is wholesome, what is tayyib, as Allah Azza wa Jalla says. That all is going to be a part of the vibration that and your output. you know, one of the things I've learned is, like, for example, when it comes to food, eat the food or love the food that's going to love you back. Love the food that's going to love you back, all right? So when you eat good food, okay, it's going to do good things, love your body, that your body loves good things for your body, inshallah. So, yeah, so much we can say here, and you've triggered my mind, but just for time, I'm just going to say, very informative. One of the key and the quality time that we see in the notes is really about, not just about being in the same room, but it's about actually being engaged, being hinged, right? Not unhinged, right? Being, just be fully present with your partner, and remove distractions. Just because you're in the same room or next to each other, proximity, right? So you don't want to be, you want to actually be really checked in. You're checked in with your eyes, with your ears in the conversation. You're giving gestures, yes, okay. Show that you're actually listening. And that's especially, us guys, we can be a little bit all over the place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. I mean, all right, let's move on to, let's move on from that one. Before we move on, are there any questions around the quality time together? If I had to prioritize any of those ones around quality time, date night would have to be one of the best ones, because you actually dress up for the occasion, you're invested, you're looking forward to it. Okay, if you're not looking forward to it, there's something wrong. You got to reanalyze what you're doing, because you should be able to have a few hours every week where you're fully checked in. You're just the two of you, just like you went out, when you were in the honeymoon period. Now, let's go to number 3, thoughtful gifts. Okay, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Tahadu tahabbu." Exchange gifts, and your love for each other will increase. Gifts. And as you read there, it's not about the cost. It's not about how much it costs. It's about thoughtfulness, especially if that's your partner's language, right? So it's about, and even the Prophet would be giving gifts to Khadijah's friend, sending them meat after her death to express his love after her death. So even how the Prophet ﷺ was during her life, right? So that's something to be mindful of, especially when it comes to Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha. Be intentional about those big moments as well. And subhanAllah, when it comes to this love language of a gift, it's not only a gift, but they also talk about surprise. That when you look attractive to your spouse is when you surprise them. If you surprise someone, you actually look attractive towards that person. So surprise them. That makes you eye candy towards your spouse. Any questions about number 3, gifts? Very straightforward. Be intentional about that. Number 4, even if you have to put, like, some of us we forget. We genuinely forget. And just put reminders in your calendar. Put reminders in your alarm app, right? I need to buy a gift for my wife or something like that. Or put it as a task, or put it as a to-do. Be intentional about that, okay? Now, number 4 is physical touch. So this is another love language. So there's 3 types of touches. There is the I feel used touch, and there is no touch, which is I feel neglected. No touch, the person feels neglected. Not soft touch, the way that your partner likes to be touched, okay, they feel connected to you. And also check in with your partner. What are the touches that they don't like? They might like touch, but they don't like to be touched maybe on certain places. Let's say, for example, for a woman, maybe it's nice to touch her hair, to touch her face, but for a man, he feels a little bit awkward if if you touched him on his face. So you might be thinking that, well, I like it, so maybe my husband must like it. No, not necessarily, right? Or they might find it very awkward. Talk about that love language and the specifics of that love language and what resonates with them, okay? Touch could also be a massage. Touch could also be intimacy. Touch could also be just cuddling up in front of the TV or holding hands when you're doing the date night or whatever. Touch, talk, communication. That's why we started off with communication, the first module, right? So we all have these receptors that, you know, throughout our bodies, these nerves, right? And subhanallah, you know, it's so important to touch your children at a young age, to caress them, to hold them. And those children who are caressed at a young age and kissed, they just feel more, I don't have the terminology for it right now, but they're just going to feel more positive in the future. They feel more loved. You know, it's subhanAllah, there's a science behind it. So even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we see on the bottom of page 9, that how he would, you know, kiss his wives before prayer. He would even, you know, lie on their laps. Even when he died, his head was on the chest of Aisha. And even if a woman is menstruating and it's that time of the month, okay, you know, the women would put a wrap around them, and then he would still, you know, be somewhat intimate, but without, you know, entering into anything that we shouldn't be doing during that period, right? So there's many romantic gestures that we learn from the Prophet ﷺ that show the importance of touch, right? Now, if there's been physical, if there is physical abuse in your marriage, and that needs to be reported. You know, if you feel that your husband or your wife, there is like domestic violence, then it needs to start to escalate this. Maybe, you know, depending on the situation, of course, but it does need to be escalated. You know, sometimes it's a situational abuse. It's what do they call it? Like, it's one-off. They were just, they're not normally like that. We can talk to them, get some intervention in, get someone to talk to them, get a counselor in, show that you've got standards. I'm not going to accept that. We need to talk to someone. I'm scared that it happens again. Okay, don't dismiss it. Don't be dismissive. Hit it in the butt straight away, nip it in the butt straight away, get onto it so it doesn't happen again. It's too risky if you let it go. Too risky. Okay? So let's go to the last one here, number 5, which is acts of service. So acts of service is really about making your partner's life easier. That's what it is. That you would appreciate some help because there's so much on your plate, right? You would appreciate that your partner helps you out, right? So, so for me personally, that's one of my favorite ones, acts of service. I do so much, and I really appreciate it when my wife lessens my load, lessens my burdens and my hardships, because I'm wearing so many hats and being in so many places. I've got no time to cook meals. I've got no time to maybe pay bills. I've got no time to really be with the children as much as I want to be with them, right? So I really, really appreciate it when my wife comes in and helps out, right? So let's say, for example, your husband, if it's your husband who has a high need for acts of service, what does that look like? It's about taking care of their practical needs. Practical needs, right? So maybe what you do is you make a list of all the things that you see him doing practically from day to day. You get intentional, you make a list, you put it in your journals. I realize that he does this, 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 and that. All right, and he's also working. I'm going to lessen his burden here, lessen it there, make it a bit easier for him to feel connected to you. Right? Show appreciation. So he's doing all these things. If that's his highest need, he wants to be appreciated. Show appreciation. Jazakallah khairan again, or show her appreciation. Offer to do things that they're normally doing. Offer. Don't just ask, but just say, hey, can I do the lawnmowing today for you? Or can I do the, I don't know, what else, brothers?
Service the car, change.
Can you service the car? Change the oil for me. No, not that one, brother. Go easy, man. رفقا بالقوارير. The Prophet said, go easy on the fragile vessels. Surprise him with an act of service that he'll appreciate. You know, clean the car. You know, maybe just cleaning the car. You know, do some gardening. You know, prepare a meal for him if he's usually preparing the meal. Surprise him. Okay, and don't assume as well. Don't assume that that's what your husband wants in an act of service. Ask, talk, communication. Let's say, for example, your wife is the one whose highest need, love language, is acts of service. What's that going to look like? What do you think, guys? Dishes, laundry, yes. Keep going. Looking after the kids, yes. Right. Running around, right. You know, for example, you planning the date night, planning things out, okay? And it can be sometimes acts of service can be emotional support. Like just sitting there listening to her. Remember, you don't have to solve the problem, you just need someone to listen to, right? So how do you know also, how can you work out, besides communicating the acts of service, you can also look at what they do. So let's say if they themselves, for example, if you find that your husband often asks for your opinion, that might be a sign that that's his acts of service. Or he appreciates a lot when you do something for him. The way he's shown me appreciation, he's saying thank you. That tells me acts of service for him, right? Or you find, for example, he becomes more affectionate towards you after you've done all this stuff for him. That's why he's being so affectionate. He's loving the fact that I did that for him, or that I took out the rubbish today and not him, right? For example, you see, for example, he himself may be expressing love and appreciation, right? So acts of service, very, very important love language to a lot of people. So once again, when it comes to these 5 love languages, it's about identifying your love language so you can communicate that to your partner, identifying your partner's love language, continue to communicate continue to communicate in each other's love language to ensure an ongoing emotional connection that will give physical connection and lots of fun time together. Allah Ta'ala bless you all. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week, insha'Allah Ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry, any last questions before I leave? Anything that you want me to expand on? No? Thank you. Brother Abdullah, yes?
It's something very quickly, visitors. We need to spend
How much?
We need to spend on showing visitors.
How much effort?
We need to show them every day, every now and then, very
Consistency is key. The Prophet ﷺ said, أَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. Allah loves consistency, right? So we learn that consistency in anything that you do is key. And what you do consistently shows up. All of us in this room, hopefully, inshallah, we all brush our teeth consistently, yes? Right? So because you brush your teeth consistently, and you're very intentional about it as a young child. You're very intentional about brushing your teeth. You have to be reminded, right? But as you did it, you became, as you did it consistently well, you managed to maintain consistently good set of teeth, right? So when you do something consistently, you're going to maintain it. You're going to preserve it. You're going to ensure that we get a good outcome. So you need to be intentional about doing this love language thing, right, or communicating in your partner's love language consistently. And so consistency is the key to mastery. If you want to master, your marriage and that connection. Be consistent in whatever it is that you do. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. I'm sure that everyone can agree in this room that we had a really wonderful time and learned so much from Sheikh today. And we really appreciate his time that he's spending every Sunday to come and speak to us about these very important topics. At the end of the program, inshallah, I'll give you a link as well to his website. So if you need more information, you want to access his marriage course online as well, you're more than welcome to go there and get even more juicy information to spice up your marriage as well. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh.
Jazakallah khairan. I want to say one thing that resonated with me when Mr. Dilek was speaking. So, very, very important. Tomorrow there's a guest speaker in this country, and it's one of my favorite subhanAllah speakers in the world. He's in town, and I've got an appointment, a date with him tomorrow morning at 6:30. And I was thinking, how can I really because I wanted to know and I got so much on my mind I want to share with you, and it just reminded me that walk and talk is very, very powerful. Try it, inshallah.
Yes, these love languages and the methods, strategies in every love language, including the walking, spending that quality time together, cannot be used only for your spouse, it's for other people that you would love to connect with as well. So they're really basis for emotional connection, as Sheikh said, whether it is with your parents, with other people that are significant to you, important to you. Your children as well have their own love languages as well, and you'll find that as they're growing up, they may have different love languages as they grow from one stage to the other, and it's really important for you to find out what that love language is to really connect with them. So that walking together, of course, aligns both your bodies, your minds, your souls together. It's a really important practice, as all the other love languages are. So we want to now re-emphasize the point of the love language, because all of these strategies really build emotional connection or a sense of love and connectivity. But for each individual, we often have a dominant love language or a primary love language, one that resonates with us more than some of the others. You might have a different love language to your spouse. So it's very important for you to understand what your own language is and what your spouse's language is also, because otherwise you might be making a lot of effort, but it's not actually yielding much result for you. It's not actually filling up the love tank of your partner, or not adding credits to their emotional bank account, because it's a different currency, it's a different type of fuel that they're looking for. So it's really important to diagnose what it is that resonates for you and what resonates for your spouse, so that you can keep them moving. And as Allah says, the deeds most loved by Allah are those that are small but done consistently or regularly. So the more you do, the more you speak in that love language, the more you fill up that love tank, or the more credits you have in the bank of your spouse, so that your relationship will not just run off dry without any feeling, or you suddenly find you're becoming numb and you just aren't connected anymore. The more you do, the more healthier your relationship will become. So it's really all about developing a habit or a pattern of this type of interactions. So let's look at your activities now. Do you all have your manuals open for the activity page? It's really looking at trying to understand yourself. The first question talks about exploring 3 occasions where you're particularly loved by your spouse. For the singles in the room, you can think about maybe 3 occasions you felt particularly loved by your parents or by your siblings. So think about 3 occasions and just write down maybe some keywords to help you remember what those 3 occasions were where you really felt, wow, this person loves me. And I want you to think about feeling loved, because we all might know the person loves us, but what made you feel that love? Okay, I'll give you 30 more seconds to finish writing, and then I'd like you to contribute some of your responses to that. Okay. Would anybody like to start off sharing? Any of the sisters? When did you feel loved? An example.
I'm quite a hugger, like I hug my mum.
So when you received a hug, you felt loved, right? That's a great example. Any other example?
When she's checking on my injuries like genuinely and asks me like how's your knee traveling, and the other one that sticks by me is she wants, like, there was we have a family gatherings on Eids, and we give to the kids only, or to our children's, and she got me a gift, like without me knowing that day, and she got me a gift surprise, yeah, in front of everyone, and that was, yeah, it was a bit it was good.
All right, lovely. So that's two examples there. One is asking after someone, expressing concern. So you feel loved when somebody's actually asking, how are you feeling? Is everything okay? And, really concerned about your well-being. And the second example was when a surprise gift was given in public. And it was just something that was very unexpected and really thoughtful. It sent a message that this person was thinking of me all this time and wanted to do this just for me. Any other lovely examples where you felt loved?
I think it's just reminding you of your tasks that you may have forgotten, and then she just reminds you of that. So
Helping you out, and maybe there's a lot on your plate and you got a lot of things to remember, and sometimes you can forget things. There's someone to help reminding you of things that you might forget, helping to support you so that you can be successful. So yeah, that's a really good sign of someone being concerned about you as well, you enough to care about making sure you're on track with things. Any other examples? Okay, so let's talk about the hugging example. So what love language is hugging? Physical touch, that's right. So many of you might have that as a love language, a strong love language. When you love to receive hugs from the person that loves you, right? And when you get that, you feel, wow, I really feel love when I receive that hug. I feel it more than even when they say I love you. When they come and hug me, then I really feel it. What about the example of surprising you with something in front of the family members?
Gift.
Yeah, thoughtful gift. So just a gift, and it doesn't have to be a gift, it just could be a surprise. It could be something small. It could be that you're just walking home and you just picked up a couple of flowers from the street, or you just wrote a nice card and sent it to them. or an e-card and sent it to their email account while they're at work. Just a really sweet, thoughtful gesture that made someone, you know, you were made to feel like you're remembered. You mean something to me. I'm thinking about you even now. Okay, I thought about you last week. That's why I was looking from shop to find this thing for you. That's the message that it's sending your loved one. What about what our brother here said about reminding him of tasks that he has to do? What love language is that? Yeah, acts of service, helping your partner, supporting them. It could be maybe reducing some of their load or stress. Any kind of act or deed that helps them in some way, reduces their burden, reduces some of the stress they're facing is an act of service as well. What are some other examples of acts of service? Yes, opening a car door is a nice gesture. Yes. Helping with housework, yes, cooking and cleaning. I remember a friend of mine I was speaking to a month or so ago, and she and her partner are both working full-time. They have 2 little kids, and when they're working, the little kids go to the playgroup or her mom's house, but her husband comes home earlier than she does because of the distance of the workplaces. And so when he comes home, he picks up the kids and then he starts playing with them in the house. And he's, you know, engaging in an act of love, right? Playing with his children. For those children, they probably feel really loved because they're getting quality time from their dad. But when she, the wife, comes home, she gets frustrated even more because she's got a pile of dishes that are in the kitchen. She's got to clean. She's had a long day at work. And fair enough, he's helping out with the kids, but she's got to cook and clean now as well. And so she doesn't have a single bit of break, she feels. So she had a disagreement with him, and I keep having to tell him to please at least put the dishes away before I get home. And I just don't understand why he doesn't do that for me. My question to her was, have you asked him to help you out with that? Perhaps he is actually trying to do his best to help the kids be occupied and so on. And he thinks that he is showing you love by taking care of the kids. But what you're actually looking for is help or acts of service in the kitchen as well to help reduce your load because you're so stressed out about it. So she didn't think of that. She just thought that maybe he could mind read what she needed. This is where it comes back to our first session of communication. It's really important to tell our partners what would really help reduce our stress, reduce our load, what would help to make us feel, wow, my partner really cares about me. He really is looking out for me and my well-being. He knows how anxious I am or stressed out I am, and he's doing this to really help calm me down by the time I get home, to make my load a little bit easier. If that's what you need to communicate that to your partner. Another friend told me that her husband goes out of his way to organize date nights, but it doesn't actually fill up her love tank. Do you know why? Because again, they've got small kids, and she has to go through all the stress of making arrangements for the kids, and when she's on a date night, her mind is constantly about how are the kids coping? Is my mom okay with the kids? Is my dad okay with the kids? And her mind is not actually present at that date night. So it's not a language that resonates very well with her. It doesn't work for her. What might work with her, for her, is something that would less stressed and anxious, would enable her to be really more present as well. It might be something to do with word of affirmation or physical touch. So as a couple or as singles going into a relationship, it's important for you to really understand the needs of your partner and to also express your own needs in a positive way, as Sister Dilek was saying, so that your partner, give them the benefit of the doubt that they do love you, they want to do the best by you, but they need your help by you communicating what you need to them, and vice versa as well. Let's go on to our second activity. Having looked at some of the instances where you felt loved, you might think about which of these 5 languages resonate the most for you. And let's rank because all of us might have, 2 or 3 love languages that really resonate with us. They make us feel loved a lot, but one tends to be stronger than the other. So let's rank all those 5 love languages, words, time, gifts, touch, service, according to your order of preference. For those of you who are married, you might want to do the same ranking for your partner, for your spouse as well. Find what love languages. And you might notice there are certain things that make your kid light up. They're so happy and feel so warm and bubbly inside. And that's probably your child's love language there. Are you all done? Okay, how many of you had words of affirmation as your number 1 love language? Yep. Okay, it's a very common love language. Many people have words of affirmation as their number 1. What about quality time? How many of you had that as a preference? Yeah. If you enter a relationship, that quality time becomes very, very important, significant to you. Sometimes when you're a single person, it's not as important, right? Because you're still single. You're not looking for quality time because you haven't got the partner yet. But when you do get married and everybody's very busy, you find that that quality time becomes extra important to you because it's precious time, rare time that you rarely get with the person, or you don't get enough of it with the person. What about acts of service? How many of you have that as a dominant love language? Really appreciate the extra help you get, right, from your partner. So that's really important too. What about, what's the other one? What am I missing? Physical touch, yes? Yeah, that's right. A lot of people have physical touch as their love language. But again, it's certain types of physical touch, right, that communicate that love to you. Because obviously there's different degrees of physical touch, different places you can touch and so on. So certain types of physical touch that communicate some things to you as well. And what's the final one we haven't said yet? Yes, gifting, giving or receiving thoughtful gifts. Any of you had that as a primary love language? Yeah? That's right, yeah. So again, that gift could be something that has a financial value. It might not have a financial value, but it's just the gesture that makes an impact for you, right? So can you give an example of a really thoughtful gift that would make an impact to you?
A really cool my husband did give me was so we could play games and spend time together that way. So that was really cute.
That's nice. And that's actually a combination of 2 love languages, isn't it? So giving a gift of an old PlayStation, a gift, but it's also a means for you to spend time together. So anything that involves activity that you can do together is quality time. Playing a game together, reading a book together, going on a holiday together, taking a walk together, having a cup of tea together, making sure that breakfast before you go to the office together. All of those things are quality time because you're doing something together, just you and your partner. And it makes emotional connection between the 2 of you. It's really important. That makes it a sort of sacred time between the 2 of you as well. So thank you very much for your cooperation today. We're right on the hour now. Do you have any other questions you'd like to share, or reflections, insights, maybe some learnings you want to share with each other? me and I'll come to you. Yes.
I do remember one time a friend of mine, out of the blue, he told me, my wife, your delicious meal. And he actually sent his son to live here, and just for that meal, during the rush time, and it was really like beautiful gesture. The act itself resonated in me more than the meal itself. And for that, I do remember reading one phrase, wisdom. It says, loving the beautiful is ordinary, but loving the ordinary is beautiful. This is how we train ourselves to appreciate everything in life. Thank you.
Yeah, very profound statement. I don't know if all of you heard that, but he said, loving the beautiful is ordinary, but loving the ordinary is beautiful. Quite a profound statement, isn't it? Quite a profound statement. So sometimes the act of service in itself is just a plain act, right? It might not be glamorous or beautiful, might not be expensive, it might not be valuable in and of itself, but it means so much to you because of what it communicates to you about the act of love that the feeling of love that person has, the feeling of kindness, compassion. That gesture carries with it so much significance and meaning. It has so much vibrational impact, right? It came from a place of beauty and is expressed with beauty as well, even if it's an ordinary act. So let's not underestimate these beautiful little things that we can say or do or time with each other, doing or helping each other with. They mean so much and they carry so much in the weight of your partner as well as in the eyes of Allah himself as well. MashaAllah. Any other contributions or you'd like to reflect on? All right, if you want to get further information about Sheikh Bilal's courses, you can go to this link here as well. He has an outstanding Muslim marriage course. If you continue with this program, we will give you a special discount voucher for that as well. And for Sister Dilek's wellness counseling, you can see the link up here as well. You can make appointments with her to really work on one-on-one on yourself and aligning yourself with the best of your potential, the way Allah has created you to be, and to manifest all sorts of wonderful things in your life as a result of aligning yourself with the will of Allah and with the beauty that you have inside. Every one of us has amazing qualities and nur inside each of us. And when we bring the best of that out of ourselves, we can also have a much healthier, flourishing life as well. Thank you all for participating today. Where we made mistakes, may Allah forgive us and continue to guide us right. We also apologize to you where we've made mistakes, and if we have shown any weaknesses in today's program, please forgive us as well. Thank you so much for coming. Please tell your friends about it as well so we can have more participants. We will have the live stream on a replay link, which I will share on the mosque Facebook page as well, or you can always email me, contact me by telephone to get the replay link sent to you. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.